I'm tempted to open with we've got Super Mick Arteta. Can I just ramble for a moment? Humour me,
Go
please.
for it.
Okay, it's podcast number 13 for us, and it's certainly lucky for us. But can I just say, those who know me know that my dislike of Manchester United runs deep. And I know I've alluded to before, for me, our fiercest rival is Manchester United because of the history between the two teams. Obviously, I detest Spurs, and we'll get on to Spurs momentarily, but Manchester United, that game, I hate every second of every Arsenal Man United game. We said it today, it just felt like that first half was a whole game in itself. It was just
I mean, knowing that we were going to catch up like this, like trying to think of all the different things that happened is just insane.
Well, can I say, like, I've watched the whole game again live.
Have you really?
Like, yeah, absolutely. And
I've not watched a single thing.
My notes run a page long and they're garbled at best.
Yeah,
it's just insane, and that's that game. In
there
my
was a lot going on.
I can't cope with it. I really can't, and I'm utterly exhausted. There was I met an old mate. Shout out to Liam and your two boys. Well, one of your boys, because the other boy's not necessarily an Arsenal fan, but we'll park that one there for now. But Liam said it reminded him of the 2005 Cup final, and I know what he meant, because that Cup final, and I think I've mentioned it on one of these podcasts before, actually, that Cup final was the worst Arsenal supporting experience, like one of the worst, against United, certainly. I mean, there's a Villa Park 99 that is up there as number one and will remain so, hopefully, forevermore. I don't want that surpassed. But it was because we didn't, like in the 2005, we didn't deserve anything from the game, and they battered us, and we won on penalties and Vieira's last kick of the game. And it was horrendous experience watching it as it was happening in Cardiff, and I was there. But the second Vieira's penalty hit the back of the net, oh, he's fallen.
Sorry, just had to get rid of a cat.
The second Vieira's penalty hit the back of the net and we won the FA Cup, it was the single most, I could not have scripted it better. It was the best way to win. And there were echoes of that today. I mean, at one point in that second half, we were under the cosh. And you said it, and we'll go back, we'll do it in some kind of chronology in a minute. But you said after we'd been under the cosh for so long, you said, as we broke away, you said, go on. What was the word you used?
I used the word sucker punch.
Yeah, sucker punch.
The sucker punch would go down a treat right about now, and then
within 30 seconds, we had one. Now, listen, there's so much that we did not see at the game. Let me tell you this.
I mean, I'm trying to recall all the different things.
Let me tell you this. It was like VAR has been an unwelcome bedfellow all season for an Arsenal fan.
Is anyone really enjoying VAR?
No, but
it feels like this failed experiment in human evolution, and it's just
today VAR was on our side. Overall, I'm just going to lean over here because of my cup of tea is going cold. Look, just because of my fancy graphics, that's the team selection. I haven't got my glasses on, so I can't see what I've written. Any surprises there for you at the start with the team?
No, I mean, none of us would have been surprised if he'd stayed with almost exactly the same team and left Holding there and played Saka a bit more withdrawn and used the Chelsea game as a blueprint. That said, at the same time, I trying to be a bit more on the front foot when at home is sort of to be understood. Saka, further forward is always going to be a bit more of a handful. And, as much as I like Rob Holding, he did look like he hadn't played regular football for a long time on Wednesday. So, yeah. But then that said, Cedric comes back into the team and, had an interesting hour or so in the game.
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of the post-match talk or even the commentary talk didn't focus on Cedric at all. It was the other fullback, Tavares, who got pretty much all of the mentions, I guess, because he scored.
Because historically he's had those two games,
Yeah.
The Forest game and was it the Brighton game or the Palace game, where he was hooked. So he's been through that. So this is what not annoyed me, but this is what worried me about him and his future at Arsenal. Because now, whenever it doesn't go very well for his defenseman, the lightning rod. Everything.
Can I just say that you say that, but he could have legitimately conceded 3 penalties.
What, Tavares?
Yeah, legitimately. We didn't realize at the game. In the first half. Yeah, in the first half, Elanga. Yeah, he had his arm around. We couldn't see it. Tavares had his arm around his shoulder and kind of pulled him a little bit. Could easily have been given a penalty. Let's put it this way: if the referee had given the on-field decision, VAR would not have overruled it. And in the second half, he basically committed the same or similar foul to the foul that sacked the Telles committed on Saka for our penalty.
Okay.
And the Cedric handball. Now, I've heard Peter Walton's explanation as to why that wasn't given as a penalty. If the ball touches your hand...
you're talking about the one in the first half.
Yeah, that was in front of us.
On the floor, hooks the ball away.
Yeah. Now, if you're using your hand or your arm to stop yourself from falling and the ball then hits your arm, it's not a penalty. I didn't know that. That's the exception to the handball in the box.
My vivid memory of it live was that his hand wasn't really going down to stop himself from falling. It was going down to hook the ball away.
Yeah, I know. I agree. And watching it again, that's exactly how I would read it. But VAR didn't give it. So that's what I'm saying, that VAR are, for once, we've actually fallen onto the positive, the plus gain side of it.
We were all then talking about how long the game might go on before they pull it back. And the ball didn't go out for ages, it felt like. Ages and ages. And then when it did, there was just nothing. There was no reaction.
On the TV, they discounted the handball within 10, 12 seconds. They'd announced that they'd done a VAR check and there was nothing in it. Bizarre. So the people watching on TV, nothing. There was no... Whereas we were like...
That's a pen.
Yeah.
Whereas I didn't think that about the Tavares tackle on Elanga. Yeah, there was a coming together, it goes down, but live you're just thinking, nah, nothing, not much in that.
Yeah, but Elanga really claimed for it.
I felt like he did that all day though.
He did, yeah. No, you're right. He did. He was a bit theatrical at times. But I was a little bit surprised by the team selection. Not so, like if it ain't fixed, if it ain't broken. No, hang on. What's that expression?
Don't fix.
Yeah. And I thought, like, Chelsea, wait, now, so not only did we make one kind of personnel change, but we changed formation completely. Yeah. And I just thought, fair play to Arteta. It would have been very easy and nobody would have batted an eyelid had he stuck with the same team. But Man United, off the back of a 4-0 thumping, we're at home.
Yeah.
They're a direct rival. Go for the jugular. Let's go for it. So let's be more creative. And that front four is pretty fluid. So maybe, fair play. Obviously, he's paid the big bucks. and it definitely paid dividend as we scored in the 3rd minute.
I think there's an element of it as well that all the teams have shown, that all those vying for the top 4 have shown that actually waiting for it to come to you is probably not the best way to go about it. You've got to go and take it. And so, and no one's pretending that the display against Chelsea on Wednesday was defensively sound. It was chaos for most of it, but we managed to commit bodies forward and exploit the mistakes they made. And
what you said something to me at the start, or I don't know how long into the game we were, but I was obviously, having heart palpitations as I was throughout, and you said just embrace the chaos.
Embrace the chaos.
I don't think I can.
No, it is very stressful, but I think at the moment, the way we are, without Partey's influence in the midfield, without Tierney's influence at fullback, because Tavares is a bit harem and scarum.
Some Arsblog described Tavares as like a Boué on PCP, which I think is probably quite accurate. It was because it was like he was involved in like everything. I mean, he's obviously scored the first goal, which was brilliant on his part, by the way. He had 3 involvements in that goal. Obviously, United's defense was abysmal. Like Varane and Telles just air kicked the ball, and Dalot just watched Tavares run past him. But that was really good. That's where Tavares is very good in an offensive sense. He has an instinct going forward. You can see that.
But the problem is the way our back 4 is like, to get the best out of Tavares, you probably do need 3 at the back. Because if he's too deep, he gets caught out with Elanga today and is exposed, time and time again and all that sort of thing. Whereas it feels like to get the best out of Cedric, you need Tierney at left back, so that White and Gabriel
can move over
broad enough to kind of shift over and cover. I mean, saying that, actually, Cedric just had a constant 1-to-1 battle with Sancho, and he just couldn't cope with Sanchez's constant, changes in direction, changes in pace, and footwork, and it just seemed a bit bamboozled by the whole experience.
Yeah, he did, and absolutely. But actually, we didn't lose much from that. I mean, if the penalty could have been awarded, then yes, that was an obvious kind of consequence of that. But it didn't. We got away with it. I mean, I said to you, he survived, and he did. He was
subbed, it was as much relief and support that he got clapped off with. But came through it, and it's very rare. You mentioned Abue. Obviously, there's that famous game. I think it was it Wigan where he was subbed on and then subbed off. I mean, Arsenal players, when they have these moments, don't necessarily come through it. So for Cedric to come through it, and he was definitely making the most of the applause at the end of the game.
He got 3 hugs off teammates, and I think they were all hugs of relief.
Off, but I meant more when they were doing their sort of lap of appreciation.
Oh yeah.
Right at the end of the game, he was central as part of the group going round. So to come through it is quite a rare thing. So hopefully that sets up well. They can all go away and recover and think about what they've done, ready for West Ham next week.
I haven't heard anything about Saka's injury, but on the TV screens, he pointed at his thigh. It was a thigh injury. So a muscle injury is a little bit of a concern, but I haven't heard anything. So
well, hopefully, because he was another one. He did the lap of appreciation at the end of the game and walked around. So if they were really concerned,
they'd have had him on the ice.
Don't do that. But fingers crossed. That's not too bad, because he again looked very just classy today. He's such a classy player.
He's the Rolls Royce as a 20-year-old. It's ridiculous. His ceiling, he has no ceiling. He is like, his potential is. I mean, what's it? I can't remember how many goals is that now he's got.
But it's not even the goals; it's the consistency of his performance.
Yeah.
You know, we also, as much as we love the likes of Smith Rowe and Martinelli, you know, their performances, you know, can be a bit inconsistent. You know, there are games that Smith Rowe has just absolutely dominated and ran at teams and frightened them. Today, he was quite quiet.
Yeah.
You know, which was as much down to, you know, it was a difficult game. You know, there was no real rhythm throughout the whole of it for either side. I didn't think, and I feel like maybe the likes of Martinelli and Smith Rowe, they need a game to have that kind of rhythm. You know, they've got pace and movement.
Yeah, well, Smith Rowe is the kind of player who sets that rhythm as well.
Yes.
And he couldn't. I mean, probably because it was just chaotic at times that he couldn't, because both teams set up with two kind of shields in front of their back four, McTominay and Matic.
I was thinking that, you know, maybe the Xhaka Elneny, you know, lack of dynamism in their sort of movement limits the service he's going to get and to be able to dictate what's going on in the game. Another reason we miss Partey, but yeah.
Did you know that? Did you know what Xhaka got his yellow card for?
Well, we assumed it was dissent.
No, it wasn't.
What was it?
He booted the ball. He booted the ball into Rosette right in front of the referee. Like, it's just like, why did he do that?
Why?
Like there was no, you know, it was just like. But then,
do you know what though? I'm
sure
we'll get to the second half in a minute. I don't really care about the yellow card today.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy with that little exchange. Right, look. So I wrote notes down as I watched it. Okay, and there's no, even watching the game again and writing down like observations and so on. They are garbled again. They're like, there's so much went on, and you can't talk about it. So like we could talk about VAR, but so much happened. Like
one, yeah, exactly.
Things that we didn't notice at the game were those penalties. Did you know that Nketiah was standing in an offside position in the eye line of De Gea for Xhaka's goal?
No,
nor me. And it could have been, and they were talking about it. So Xhaka's goal could, and Rangnick actually mentioned it in his post-match presser, that it could easily have been disallowed because De Gea, you'll see it if you watch Match of the Day.
Yeah.
There is a Man United player as well, but De Gea has to look around.
Yeah.
And the side he chose to look around was not the side the ball came. The ball came the other side. Now, I don't think he would have got to it. Xhaka absolutely kind of mullered it. It was, you know, keeper would have had to be stood there to stop it. That's that kind of thing. But with our VAR record this season, that could easily have been disallowed.
Mm.
The Ronaldo offside was marginal for that 2-2. Obviously, Fernandes. Oh, by the way, Bruno Fernandes should have been red carded. His studs up tackle on once you see it, I bet they don't even show it on Match of the Day. I bet they won't even show it. But if you see it, he was about a day and a half late. The ball had long gone, and studs on the ankle of Tavares. It was a red card. I heard someone describe it as it was close to a red card as you can possibly get without it being a red card. It was a red card.
Right.
So
I didn't notice that at the time. I know it was a foul, but
yeah, we didn't. Yeah, we couldn't see that. But he had a great game, Fernandes, didn't he? Like missed a penalty. That penalty is mental. It's what are you doing?
That's the second half. Is that the second half?
Sorry. Yeah, right. Okay. So
all
I wrote, first thing I wrote down was the Saka's now scored against Chelsea, Man United, City, and Spurs. Just to acknowledge that.
I love that. Can you just say that again?
Saka has now scored against Chelsea, Manchester United, Manchester City, and Spurs. He's 20 years old. The kid's unbelievable.
Brilliant.
Like, he's so like he's just. It really is a special talent. I saw someone describe or compare it to watching David Rocastle when he first came through, and I can see that. There's
It's
just
a bit before my time.
yeah, but there's just this kind of freedom and this joy in his play, and I mean Rocastle had an edge to him as well. I mean Rocastle was just
Trying to think if there's a player that is similar from sort of my generation, sort of generation after. I mean, the closest one might be Fabregas, but then he feels like a very different player.
yeah.
You know, he played it. He was a bit more blood and thunder and everywhere, all over the pitch. Great passing. Just,
I mean, we've got to be careful with Saka because he's playing an awful lot of football. And I think back to Jack Wilshere as an 18. He's a bit younger, and he did play 60 games in one season. And to be fair, I think that was his undoing.
I think you could argue that with Rooney's early part of his career as well.
Yeah, I mean, although Rooney was Rooney was a man long before he was old enough to be a man. You know, he had and whereas Saka's very, I mean, as Saka walked past in front of us when he was injured, when he'd been substituted, and Indigo turned to me and said, like, how old is he? Because he looks like he's about 17.
Yeah.
And he just looks so young. And that's that joy, that kind of freedom, but I think that's him. I think that's just there's that calmness inside him that he just oozes class and control. So yeah, he scored against. Who's he got left? That's it. That's the other. Who's he not scored against? Like that's the big games
against Spurs. Yeah, that's it. Big West Ham.
Right. So. Right. BT Sport gave man of the match to Ødegaard, and I think a lot for his first half performance, which again we weren't like kind of too aware of. It was down the other end, a lot of it. Yeah. I think he should be given the man of the match award just for the nutmeg on Varane in the second half, which was just fantastic. It was like wow.
Wasn't it? If I'm doing that to Raphael Varane, I'm getting tattooed all across my
and there's a picture doing the rounds as soon as like Fernandes misses the penalty, and people are comparing it to the Martin Keown and Van Nistelrooy.
Exactly that. I know it's second half, but Ramsdale's Keown impression was just
like I'm no fan of Fernandes, so that was a pretty special moment.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Because there was some chanting popping up, obviously, you know, mocking Fernandes, missing the penalty, this, that, and the other. What's this about an apology? Did he demand an apology for something somewhere along the line? Because when I was I was meeting my pal who we drove down with today at the Tony Adams statue, and there was all sorts of chants going on, you know, making fun of Fernandes missing the penalty. And then this thing about an apology kept cropping up, and I have no idea what it was referring to. So, was that
no?
Well, all right, okay.
No, I don't. I'll Google Fernandes apology and see what comes up.
I've got my phone here, but yeah. So that was it was a tame penalty. He did that. You know, there's a over elaboration in the run up, and then he just hits it softly. I mean, he goes. You know, Ramsdale's not exactly gone the right way, but
yeah, I'm not sure why Ramsdale was celebrating quite like he was because he got nowhere near it. But I thought Xhaka, for me, Xhaka was man of the match. I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was very calm. I mean, that one little brain fade side where he just booted the ball in, I thought he was really good. And then he actually was very good alongside him as well. I got to give him his dues.
So apparently it's nothing to do with Arsenal really, but it's the fact that Fernandes apologised to Man United fans for their performance against Liverpool. So our fans have obviously taken that and are you going to apologise or something along those lines? Okay, good.
Excellent.
Yeah,
so my cup of tea is still warm. Right. Ødegaard for our hang on. Let's see. What was the first goal? First goal was just like kind of catalogue comedy of errors from Manchester United's perspective, and a good bit of forward play by. It was a very good save by De Gea from Saka actually, and it was
Gambles gets
good bit of forward play by Tavares. And then who's it? Dalot.
Everyone was delighted for Tavares as well.
Yes.
Yeah. You know,
I think the crowd at one point just got frustrated with Cedric.
Yeah.
And I think it was because of he'd obviously lost for a few minutes in the first half where his mind had gone and his confidence had gone, and he opted for the safe option when he didn't need to. He should have gone forward, and I think that was a bit of frustration. Yeah. But the crowd didn't. I mean, I'm not aware of the crowd getting on Tavares' back at all. In fact, the atmosphere was just superb, pretty much from start to finish. I mean, and we knew we were under the cosh, like we really did, and we were. Then there was like a few. Diogo Dalot, or however you pronounce his name, I don't know, but he hit the crossbar. It was him that hit the crossbar with that shot which is like an amazing effort from a fullback. Oh, it's a fantastic shot.
They created far more in the first half.
Yeah, and Nketiah, yeah, like he had that volley, and I mean, but we scored shortly after that. It wasn't too long after that. It might even have been from an extended passage of play from that effort. I don't know, but it was straight at De Gea and anywhere else. But for the penalty, I just want to say about for the penalty award, Ødegaard played a fantastic ball through to Saka. It was brilliant. Like we didn't appreciate it quite so much but looking at it again on the screen, it was fantastic ball from. And for me, it was a penalty all day long. On the BT commentary, McManaman and Glenn Hoddle, they were like soft. But even Rio Ferdinand in the studio at half time said that was a penalty. And it was a penalty. He made no attempt to play the ball. He leaned
in real
into
time. We were all shouting for a pen, and then Nketiah buries it anyway.
Yeah.
So we all go crazy.
And Saka's penalty was brilliant again, and again, right? We point to his talent, but his mentality, his mental strength.
It's insane for someone so young.
To score against Chelsea and Manchester United in consecutive games, penalties, after your previous penalty was for England in the World Cup final, Euros, and they weren't nervous penalties.
No.
They were brilliant penalties, like proper, I'm going to score this. There was no hesitancy. There was no doubt in his mind. You could see the way he hit it. It's like, bang, perfect. And I think we found our penalty taker. And I've always had this issue with left-footed penalty takers. I think I was somewhat mentally scarred by Messrs. Waddle and Pearce for England back along.
Messy.
Right, so I'm not sure how I feel about Arsenal having a left-footed penalty taker. It's like it's going to add another layer of stress to my already quite stressed or layered Arsenal approach as a fan.
I did think the whole way that decision came was just farcical. The VAR thing to me is just ridiculous, and especially today really high. So I know we benefited from it in the end because we ended up with a goal from the penalty, but essentially if VAR hadn't got involved, they'd have reached exactly the same decision, because when it's happening, Craig Pawson, the referee, he sees the foul on, was it
Saka,
and wants to give a penalty but plays the advantage. Ball falls to Nketiah, ball goes in. He looks at his linesman. Linesman makes a point of pointing his flag down, saying no offside, and the goal is given. So Arsenal 1-0 up. Then VAR gets involved and goes, hang on a minute, there might have been an offside there, even though the linesman who's there and looking at it said there wasn't. So we'll look at that, and then we'll look at actually it's not offside, therefore we can go back to the penalty. They came to exactly the same decision that they would have done if they'd just let it go, because then we get the penalty and we score anyway.
Would you get rid of VAR then?
Yes, completely.
I wonder, I know someone's done this and I don't have it to hand. For every Premier League team, someone's worked out the points gain and loss on VAR decisions. and I think only one team was faring worse than us at the time, but that was a month or two ago. But
But I don't care, because it's the process. It's regardless of the decisions, and we can talk about the decisions. I'm not sure referees got that many decisions wrong. You think about a 90-minute game, they get dozens of decisions right. And we will argue, till we're blue in the face in the pub afterwards about the one thing that they got wrong. So actually, if we try and think about it, reasonably, they do get a lot right. I know there can be decisions that, turn games, but VAR doesn't seem to have provided the huge clarity that we were hoping for.
No, it's just added a different level of contention, hasn't it?
And also, for me, just the stadium experience now is just getting beyond the joke, because you lose 5 minutes, and us in the stadium just see a thing on the screen saying
check,
and it's just like, okay, check what we're looking at. Everyone at home is getting the full picture. They're getting the lines, and they're getting the replays and the blah blah blah, and it's just a nonsense. And then even when the ref goes over to the screen and we don't know what he's seeing, and it's just, let alone the fact I've missed out the keyest point. I've genuinely not celebrated a goal because I'm expecting VAR to get involved.
That was Martinelli, wasn't it?
It was the Martinelli goal, over the shoulder volley against Newcastle. Brilliant goal, wonderful goal.
And we stood there.
He's got to be offside, so I'm not going to celebrate. Pointless. They're going to give it offside. And when they give it, I feel like I've been cheated. It's just a nonsense. The whole thing. It's not helped anything.
There's, and I should check this at some point. I have a memory of an Ashley Cole clearance off the line at Highbury, which actually the ball crossed the line, and had the correct decision been taken, we would have lost the game and not won the league that season. So I can't remember what the game was.
Hang on. Goal line technology, the old point that we watch, that's a different thing.
Yeah, no, that works. That works. And that's
that
right.
Works.
And that's right. Yeah.
It doesn't impinge on the game at all.
It's instant. Yes.
It's there. And it's also a binary decision. The problem is VAR is getting involved in decisions that are subjective. Well, if they're subjective, what does the video tell you that the person there seeing it live doesn't? Yes, you get replays, but actually replays can be misleading, especially if they're in slow motion and seen from different angles. It's all, if it's subjective, it's subjective. You have to leave it to the ref. Let's hand the power to the refs.
I'm glad you uttered that. You finished on that line, because I'll take that line up. The more power we can take off the referees, the better.
No, but we need to improve the officiating. Yeah, there needs to be, a massive improvement of officiating. I'm not saying that. No referee's perfect, and some of them are a lot less perfect than others. But I'm not sure those same referees that we complain about and think need to be improved, they're also the ones watching the videos. So actually, it's just the people making the decisions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just have them make the decision on the pitch, and let's get on with it.
I'm torn. I must admit, I'm definitely more against VAR than for it, but I don't know. I don't know.
It's just ruining the experience for me.
I get that, and I
think it was the Brighton one. The Brighton one went on for ages.
That was ridiculous. That
went on for so long.
4 minutes.
It was just crap.
No, that was.
And the fact that we're benefiting from these, I don't want it to be seen as a bias thing. It just takes too long. The whole thing. If it's this again, you get this idea of clear and obvious. Well, if it's clear and obvious, you only need a couple of looks, surely.
Yeah.
Surely it takes 30 seconds because it's instant replays.
It seemed to work better in the Euros.
Yeah, it did massively.
So why? What was different?
I don't know.
See, doesn't that come down to Mike Riley at the PGMOL?
Yeah, might be the British or the English refereeing that's come into that. I also think there's an element of at the Euros, we have adapted it a little bit in the Premier League, where they actually, all those petty niggly sort of fouls that were kind of 50-50 shoulder to shoulder, actually nothing egregious happened. They just let go. So it felt less stop-start. So when VAR did get involved, it wasn't adding to what was already a very sort of, bitty game. maybe. I don't know. Whereas in the Premier League, it felt like that to begin with in the season, but now it does feel a bit staccato and interrupted quite a lot at the minute.
Yeah, and again, the very fact that we spent the best part of 7-8 minutes talking about VAR after a game in which we probably benefited from it says it all, really. It's like
it's so negative. There's nothing positive to say about it.
No, absolutely.
Anyway, that one went our way, but then when they came up the other end, things didn't go our way.
Nice one. Good segue, that. Yeah. I'm looking at the Ronaldo goal again, and just a nod to the Arsenal fans that did applaud on the 7th minute for Ronaldo. It was really nice to see that. Again, he's not a player that any Arsenal fan has any warmth towards whatsoever.
Not in a football context.
In a football, absolutely. But it was nice to see that we could put aside those rivalries and acknowledge kind of the human element of the footballer. And he's the fact that he was probably their best player today and scored a goal in the week after the week that he's had and what his family is suffering through is just ridiculous. Again, that he's a machine of a player. He's incredible. And
class from him, class from us. Obviously football's just not that important when it
exactly. His goal, I know, and there is an argument to say that Ramsdale flapping the way he did might have interfered with Gabriel's decision making, perhaps. So I'd take that. But for me, Gabriel, it was Gabriel's fault. He played that. Someone wrote down he played the man, not the ball. He was too preoccupied with where Ronaldo was. He missed the flight of the ball, and he could have got to the ball before Ronaldo completely. And that was my reading at the time. I thought, well, there's no way Ronaldo started that cross behind the two Arsenal defenders. How on earth did he get to the pitch of the ball before them? And Ramsdale was kind of caught in a bit of no man's land. He could never have made it to the cross. So and he kind of realised that. It was a lovely finish from Ronaldo, by the way. With his left foot, it was a nice little hooked finish. But for me, it was Gabriel's fault. And someone tweeted, I showed you the tweet at the time. They said Ben White and Gabriel must have had posters of Ronaldo up on their bedroom walls when they were young, because they were giving him far too much respect.
Well, I mean, a couple of things on Ronaldo. I suppose on that moment, actually, the last time I saw Ronaldo at the Emirates was the league game we played, where we did actually beat United that day, which was a bit of a surprise. We beat them 2-1 in the league. But that was in 2008. That's 14 years ago. Ben White is what, 24, 25? So
he was 10.
He would have been 10. I mean, that is depressing on every level. And there's Ronaldo. By the way, Ronaldo, who I'm pretty much the same age as. And I know I'm wearing it a little better than him. That's all I can say. But he's just a machine. And on that point, United, for me, started the game really badly. Like, there was no energy. They were all very static. But there was a moment, I can't remember exactly what moment, but it was in the first half, where we were just knocking the ball about and not really doing anything. And he was the player who sort of dropped into midfield and intercepted a ball and just added that little bit of energy and interception, because his teammates were just kind of statues for a long period of time. He knows what it takes in the Premier League to games, and
he actually provided the assist for both of Dalot's shots that hit the post and for Elanga's penalty appeal. He actually was chief creator for Manchester United on the day, and the fact that he's got as many hat-tricks since he turned 30 as before he turned 30 is like...
I mean, I can sort of understand why Man United fans are tearing their hair out. I mean, I've said about the few games I've seen them on the telly where they're really dull to watch quite often. And today, for the first sort of 20 minutes or so, they just didn't press. And that's why I think we were encouraged to try and beat the press from passing out, because the press was so lame essentially, that it, we felt confident in doing it. And it was only after their goal and Ronaldo, trying to sort of G the team up by leading an example, that their press became a bit more intense and a bit more effective. And that, played on our nerves as well. And then Cedric started to have his moment of wobble, and they really grew into the game. But for the first 20 minutes, they were just passengers in the game like that. As the whole I couldn't believe I was watching a Man United team. The lack of
it was our then kind of carelessness at the back, and then hesitancy at the back, and jitteriness at the back that encouraged them on. And pretty much until Xhaka's goal.
And after that, it was pretty much all them.
We were under the cosh.
Yeah, massively.
The Man United penalty in the second half. So we thought Tomiyasu was going to come on because he was warming up. He was being trained or whatever that is. Drilled at half time with a view to coming on, I'm convinced. And we all thought, because he hadn't warmed up then in the second half at all, we all thought that he'd obviously pulled or twanged his calf again. But he actually did come on. But the Man United penalty, when you see it, what on earth is Tavares jumping with his arm like that for?
Oh, right.
Okay. Like a blatant penalty. He didn't know it was accidental. He didn't punch it, but his arm was above his head like that.
It's like his limbs are doing things that just are unexpected.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre.
And he was, and the ball kind of bounced. Someone headed it onto his arm then, but his arm was up there. What the hell was his arm doing up there? Anyway, so it was an absolute, nailed on penalty. There was no, I mean, we didn't necessarily see it, but down as it was down the other end, but it was a nailed on penalty. And that penalty miss, I did not think it would happen. Obviously you expect the penalty always to be, I expect every opposition penalty to be scored and every Arsenal penalty to be missed. That's what I expect. So within that context, I was really happy twice today. So what have I written? What have I written that?
It was a lame kick.
Right,
Ramsdale's Keown response. Oh, that was a glorious moment. I was stunned for a bit. Everyone was really celebrating Fernandez's miss, but I was just thrown by it. I couldn't believe he missed. And then, but even then, for the next few minutes, they were still on top. They were still pushing, and it wasn't.
Well, actually, in defence of your VAR position earlier, I was waiting for a retake because of some encroachment that VAR that had spotted. So there you go.
It's going to get involved. Yeah.
It does impact every decision, every incident that happens on the pitch. There's always that, because whenever something happens on the pitch, like a major incident, a issue in the goal, in the penalty boxes, my first instinct is to look to the linesman straight away. Right, is the flag up, or is it? And that's not enough anymore, because it doesn't matter whether the linesman puts the flag up or not. It's got to go to a TV screen in the Midlands somewhere, where you're going to have some idiot alleged looking at the pictures, and human error is still likely, because they see things that the rest of us fail to. They also know the rules a bit better than I do as well. But actually, I like the team spirit. There's an incident that we kind of saw a little bit, but it was McTominay and Gabriel down the other end in the second half.
Was that when they fell over in the box?
Yes. It was much ado about nothing. However,
in football. Unless Roy Keane.
There were loads of Arsenal players straight on McTominay, pulling him off. And I just thought, I've written down because we didn't see that. I was like, good fight. We've always said, where's the other? You get an Arsenal player in trouble, or squaring up to someone, or get around him. He's your teammate.
Yeah.
It's them against us. There's that unity, and it's there. It wasn't one or two Arsenal players; it was every Arsenal player, and that's what you want. It's like, and the message that sends to the opposition
is they're up for this.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you want.
You're an our manner back in your box.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
No, absolutely. Yeah, come on in. What have you got? Because we've got this.
Right. So how long after that was it then that we sucker punched them? That's my word of the day.
I don't know what minute the Arsenal goal was.
It was 70 something, wasn't it?
Hang on, I'll tell you now.
No, I can't remember. It was all a blur. I must admit, I haven't celebrated a goal like that for a while.
Yes, that was good.
It was such a good goal, and it was such an important goal, and it was, it was and it was him. It was Xhaka, who's, and
it was Fernandes who lost the ball to him, who gave the ball away. So even sweeter. It was the 70th minute. Yeah, and you were talking about the celebrations. I had a chiropractor's visit at 8 a.m. this morning for my sins, and my words, I was shouting that hard I was screaming that hard after that ball hit the back of the net. My back was not grateful. It was not. I was
worried that I'd sort of leapt onto you because it was so great. I sort of did the rounds. I celebrated with the guys next to me, and then you in front, and then the guys behind, and it was just it was limbs everywhere. It was amazing. It was so good.
It was brilliant.
Because it was as much relief as well.
Yes.
Under the cosh. United.
It was 100%. It was 99% relief. 1%. Oh my God, that's a great goal. It was like. But I know, yeah. And I've got to say that was the first time the whole stadium was singing a Mikel Arteta song at home.
Oh, it's great.
That was brilliant. And again, I was trying to, in the car on the way back, brutal roadworks at Highgate. Let's want to complain about that. It took us about 40 minutes to get from the bottom of Highgate.
I couldn't believe how well we did on those.
No.
Minibus or the bus.
And so to keep myself occupied, I was trying to keep me and Indigo occupied. I was trying to chant the Mikel Arteta song. I can't get the last line because I'm a little bit simple, So
Arsenal on the way to Champions League.
Yeah, to me, there's too many words. There's one too many words in it. But how does it go again?
Arsenal on the way to Champions League.
No, start the chant.
I'm not singing. I've bet nearly as voice as it is. It's not happening.
We've got Super Mick Arteta.
He knows exactly what we need.
Right. So we've got Katie at the back.
Gabby in attack. Arsenal on the way to Champions League.
Arsenal on the way to Champions League. Okay. Yeah. That doesn't sound too hard to remember.
When I was waiting for my friend at the Tony Adams statue, there was a bunch of lads, and they were fairly well oiled by that point, and they were chanting. I know it's a play on the Liverpool LA.
Oh yeah, no, I know this one. Yeah, I like this one.
But actually, I know. I suppose because we were playing United, and it's all about the stadiums where we've won the league, and it just it did sound good at that point as well.
Yeah, no, that's. I like this. I like the Mick Arteta one. I do like it, but actually, I prefer the LA one.
Yeah, a lot of people, some people we were sort of stood with and chatting say that it feels like it should be more of a European song.
It is though. You listen to the Champions League games, the foreign fans are singing it all the time.
Because apparently originally it was Porto. Some guy said it was Porto, right. and then Liverpool, and then I don't know. But that happens all the time, isn't it? It's all the recycling of.
Yeah, but that's fine. That's fine. That's originality and the football fan not really renowned, are they? Which is why the Mick Arteta one is good, because I've not. Is that a borrowed?
I don't know.
Terrace song.
Whether it's from somewhere else. Yeah. Because the only other Arteta one I knew was follow. Arsenal are the team to follow. There's nobody better than Mikel Arteta. He's the best little Spaniard we know. That's the only one.
Yeah, but Cazorla.
It was a Cazorla chant, I think, originally.
Well, Cazorla's a better little, talking about
Oh right, you're just
Yeah.
picking up semantics of who
Yeah.
because all are Arteta. Yeah, right, okay.
Because Fabregas has as much as I loved him as an Arsenal player, he played for Chelsea, and he agitated to move as well. So
it's so annoying because to me, Fabregas was the man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he was
and he's a proper. He loves Arsenal. Now you can see that he's
actually he wanted to come back.
Yes,
that's the heartbreaking thing.
And Wenger admits that he should have.
Absolutely, because you can't have enough world-class midfielders.
No, yeah.
Turning down one because we've got another, that just seems ridiculous and redundant. But there you go. Speaking of the strangeness of football fans, I worry now because my routine today was completely so superstition-wise.
Hang on. So you mean it's got nothing to do with what we do before the game?
No. This I'll tell you now. This is why we won the match, because I wore this shirt, because I drove down myself, because I ate at the Arsenal Cafe on Blackstock Road.
Oh right, you did. Excellent.
Holloway, and then we went for we did go for a drink in the Ark Star because nowhere else was bloody open at that time in the morning. So the Gunners pub, I think the Gunners pub might have shut down. Like it didn't just look closed; it looked closed down, which I was amazed by. But other people will know that we're never normally on that side, so we never.
Yeah.
Just since I've gone to the Gunners pub, but because we thought we'd go. The old Triangle was shut and wasn't open yet. That opened at 11, and I was thinking it's an early game. Surely just get the doors open, get people in. So we ended up at the Arsenal. So yeah, now I've got to do that for every game.
Well, it's only two.
It doesn't matter. They're two important ones.
Yes, so you can do that.
I can do that. I'm not sure I actually will do that, but
this is.
Let's face it. We won on Wednesday. And I didn't do any of that. So
that was away.
Yeah, well,
if you'd done any of that, you'd have ended up in the wrong place.
I still go to away games, but and I still don't know if I'm going to West Ham.
When do you find out?
Yeah, well, I don't know. It just depends on final numbers and dropouts because there's still illnesses and late cancellations sort of playing in this.
So you're on standby.
So I'm on standby. I've been told to. Not
have your bag packed.
Plans, stay available. So fingers crossed. Because otherwise, that will be me done. Oh, I am planning on doing Spurs, even though it's a school night.
No, so, you have, that's
because I've not been to the new toilet bowl, so I've got to go for that, and it is a massive game now.
Well, I actually hope, and I have had a little bit of a look at the fixtures. Right. I actually hope
you're going to say exactly what my friend messaged me earlier.
Then it won't matter.
Right, that's exactly what he said.
Okay, so, Leicester could actually get a draw against Spurs on, is it Sunday they're playing? I think it's Sunday they're playing. They could get a draw. Spurs have played 2 games against Brighton and Brentford and not scored. Leicester are a better team than both of those.
Hold on. Spurs haven't played Brighton and Brentford and not scored. They've not had a shot on target.
Oh, Brentford hit the woodwork twice today, apparently.
What a time to produce a stat like that. I thought that was stuff only we did. But then I suppose Spursy...
Oh, right. Hang on. Before we've gone away from Arsenal, one thing I must say. How we've scored 7 goals in 2 games and Nketiah has started both those games. We've got to give a nod to him because he didn't score today. He was unlucky at a goal chalked off for offside, but he actually occupied both defenders. Yeah. He dropped deep, he linked up, but he's got the legs to get into the box as well. And he was a pest. And that's what it actually put us on the front foot.
Yeah.
It meant that we could concede. Remember, we went to Southampton and it's no shame conceding a goal away from home, but that's okay if you're scoring 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But we were toothless. We had 21 attempts on target and no goal. Yeah. 21 attempts in that game and no goal. And Nketiah starts 2 games and we've scored 7 in 2. Now, not just against any lower table opposition, away to Chelsea and home to United. So that's 2 of the top 6. So I just wanted to you mentioned about I don't know what you mean about non-scoring strikers, Kane and Son at Spurs. Just Nketiah, like he has to start every single game between now and the end of the season, and I cannot escape this kind of, I don't know, useless thought that if he'd played the number of minutes that Lacazette had played in the last 17 games, we wouldn't even be in it. We'd be safely ensconced in third place, let alone battling out for fourth. I mean, we're only 2 points behind Chelsea, who do have 2 games in hand. And I do want Chelsea to beat West Ham tomorrow, just on the basis that, yes, I do, simply because our goal at the start of the season was the Europa League. Realistic goal at the start of the season was Europa League. If Chelsea beat West Ham tomorrow, West Ham are 8 points behind us. They'll have
4 games to go.
4 games to go. That's so we'd need to win 2 home games,
and we play
them. So even if we lost to them, we'd still be able to, assuming they won every game. You know, that includes Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge tomorrow. You know, so it could almost, it goes a long way to securing that 6th spot, which is the minimum.
Football, that was the target, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that's the minimum. So and then obviously, like our game with West Ham next Sunday is sandwiched between their 2 semi-finals in the Europa League, which I hope they win overall. Like on aggregate, I hope.
And that's where Holly's internet drops out, leaving me all alone on the screen. Unbelievable. Well, I suppose he was talking about West Ham appearing in the Europa League semi-final. So I'll just carry on talking about how we do hope that they win. And yes, it would benefit us if they win and are having one eye on the Europa League semi-finals and Europa League final when we play them next week. But also because actually, you know, we like West Ham. I used to love going to Upton Park. Proper old school stadium. The new stadium is not so good, but I hope to be there next week. And yeah, all power to them.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You're back. You disappeared for a moment, so I kept rambling on about West Ham. And
right. Okay. Sorry about that. For some reason, my the camera I had been using has just decided to refuse to be used, and so I've had to revert to the laptop camera. Sorry, and I don't know how I did that actually, because what happened there was just a series of me pressing a lot of buttons and twiddling knobs and devices and things, and hoping something changed on the screen, and it appears to have done so. And we're still recording, so well done. Whatever you said, I could hear you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I could hear you. But I wasn't paying attention to what you were saying.
Well, that's because, you know, in our careers, there's always times when someone says, "Can you just watch this class for a minute? I've got to pop off," and you just go, "Right." So filler, here we go.
Like, listen, it's how in the days before technology, DHP, door handle planning. It's how I used to teach my own lessons, let alone looking after someone else's lessons.
Nice.
For a bit.
Okay.
I'm just not sure what's. Anyway, right. So what I was going to do is look at the fixture list.
Or
I have done. So I was saying that by the Spurs game, we'll have.
Well, they could drop the points against Leicester.
Leicester, right?
We could beat West Ham.
That's right. So that would put us. I'll say they'll draw against Leicester, and that would put us 4 points clear of them. Yeah. They then go to Liverpool. Right.
Get tonked.
And then we play. Let me get this right.
Leeds.
We play Leeds
on the Sunday.
On the Sunday at 2:00.
Yeah.
So they play on the Saturday night.
Leeds are looking better.
Yeah, fine. We have to beat Leeds. Sorry, we just have to beat Leeds at home. We have to be fired up for that. I know it's more like a Palace, Brighton, and Southampton game than a Chelsea United West Ham game. But if the biggest word You know, if we manage to, if Leicester managed to get a draw from Spurs, we managed to beat West Ham. Spurs then lose to thing, and we beat Leeds. We're 7 points clear.
Going
with
into
two games to go.
Well, no, we'd have.
We've got Newcastle,
Everton, and Spurs. But
hang on, but Spurs is the second last game, so sorry, we have to play Newcastle as well.
Yeah.
Hang on, who does Spurs play when we play Newcastle?
I don't know.
No, hang on.
Burnley.
So no, we've got 2 games after Spurs. Someone said today that the Arsenal Spurs game is the penultimate game. It's not.
No, it's not. It's the
right. Okay. So I don't think there's any possible way that game can be redundant. I'm afraid. So it's on for you.
Well, no, it can be for Brighton. It would still matter in terms of the end of the season, but in and of itself, if those results play out where Spurs, drop points against Leicester and then Liverpool, and we, fingers crossed, win against West Ham and Leeds, what it will mean is that Spurs can't go above us when we play Spurs.
Yeah.
So there is that cushion.
And what it does mean, actually, is if we beat Spurs, it's game over.
It could.
If those results work out, because we'd end up, we'd be 10 points clear of them with 2 games to go.
But what's the betting?
Even a draw.
A bit like us, and I don't necessarily think this will happen, but this is football now. Spurs have lost to Brighton, injury time defeat at home to Brighton. Then they've drawn away at Brentford, and in both those games, they've not had a shot on target. I know they play Leicester next week, but let's say that doesn't go for them. They play Liverpool, and they get something out of the Liverpool game.
Yeah,
football makes no sense. So
they've got 6 points from Man City this season.
And exactly, yeah. It just beggars belief, doesn't it? It's sickening in a way, but I don't know. We've got a sort of half and half record, really. We've beaten Spurs at home, and we've got them still to play. Liverpool and Man City, I suppose, blew us away. But even, the Man City one was aggrieved.
Definitely. And Liverpool was only 2-0.
Yeah, so Liverpool was only 2-0. That's an improvement for us.
No, for us. No, it is. I was saying in the car on the way back, actually. It's only Liverpool and City that we haven't put up a performance against this season.
Chelsea we've beaten away. Man United we've now beaten at home and lost in the reverse fixtures. So, yeah.
It's this season, ironically, it's the last 3 games that we lost. It's the Southampton, Palace and Brighton that's done us.
Well,
so far.
I mean, Everton, I'll just go back to...
Yeah, I mean, again, you point to it. It's a young team. And I suppose we should also acknowledge El Neni's role as well.
Fantastic, yeah.
When we said that we looked like a young team all of a sudden, those 3 defeats, without Tierney and without Partey, and then he's come into the team and actually he is a ridiculously experienced player. Yeah. He's a safe
player. Best
player.
Egyptian in the league. Best Egyptian in the
league. That'll get all our Liverpool fans irate. Yeah, right. Okay, I'm looking. Match of the day starts in 3 minutes.
Match of the day starts in a few minutes. I've not seen any of this,
so all I'm going to do to close.
The one thing I want to ask is, did you watch the game again from recording it on BT?
Yeah.
Because a lot of my friends were reveling in the fact that Rio Ferdinand seemed to be crying salty tears of misery at the end of it.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that. I only had enough time to watch the game. I haven't watched the post-match analysis yet, but I've seen that on Twitter. Right, it's a thing of beauty, apparently.
Well, I don't mind Rio. He does wear his heart on his sleeve, and
which is
all
and I think Martin Keown was doing his best wind-up routine alongside him as well. So. That'd be good, but I just
want to jump down on him.
Yeah. You sent me this picture on Twitter, on WhatsApp earlier, but I had already sourced it and lined it up. But that photograph today, I mean, that is just.
There's too much going on in that picture for my.
Isn't that? I mean, for me as well. Like, with my connection to one of those players, it's just that picture is just brilliant. I love it. You know, it's someone, I think Arsenal tweeted this, Arsenal.com tweeted it, and I think that the tag or the label, whatever you call it, I can't remember now. I haven't got language anymore. Was Arsenal yesterday, today, tomorrow, forever, or something like that.
Yeah, because that was the banner they held up at the clock end for their.
Yes. Yeah. Which we couldn't see because we were underneath the flag. But,
yes, so that was good. That was helpful.
So that was useful for us. But that's brilliant. Look at that.
Oh, that's so good.
What you see in that photograph, though, it is like two dads with their sons. But what you do see, though, is Bergkamp was big. You know, he's tall. Yes. You know, because Henry was known to be tall. You know, he was recognised as tall. He was whatever 6 foot plus he was. But Bergkamp wasn't always known for that. But look at him.
I love him.
Yeah.
What a player.
So that's just
to end on.
Yeah, I like that's just brilliant. Absolutely. Right. Okay. So apologies for that little technical glitch towards the end there. I have no idea what happened. And those people who know me will know that technology and me often include the word glitching and me being clueless for periods of time. So there is that as well. Anyway, we've got 6 days, 7 days, 8 days till the next game. I'm really looking forward to the West Ham game. I have loads of West Ham connections, and they're a kind of a favoured second club for me. I think West Ham, I do like them, and they hate Spurs, and that's always good. So anyway, we'll see you next Sunday. Hopefully you'll have been to the game, and it'll be a late one, but you'll be able to tell us what it was like in person. And
I'll see you in the flesh at Leeds.
Yeah, that's right. And have a good day. Enjoy, bask in the glory of this tomorrow. See you guys. See you everyone.
Bye.